Chapter 30 of Your Psychic Powers and How to Develop Them. Recording by John Smith. Your Psychic Powers and How to Develop Them by Hereward Carrington. Chapter 30 Hypnotism and Mesmerism. The word mesmerism is derived from Antoine Messier, who founded the system and who performed all the early experiments in this field. It was known as mesmerism for about 50 years until an English physician by the name of Dr. James Braid coined a new word, hypnotism, from the Greek hypnos, sleep, and this is the word which has been used almost exclusively from that date to this. The difference between hypnotism and mesmerism. The majority of persons would claim at the present day that hypnotism and mesmerism are identical, there being no difference between them. They are both due, it is said, to suggestion and the influence of the mind over the body. Very similar phenomena occur in both cases. It is true, but I believe that there is a difference between the two processes and conditions. Mesmerism is based on the belief that there is a definite physical emanation or vital fluid which passes from the operator into the subject while the mesmeric passes are being made over the latter's body. Hypnotism, on the other hand, is due entirely to suggestion, the influence of the subconscious mind upon the body. There is no physical influence or effluence in hypnotic practice, and it is claimed that all the phenomena of mesmerism apparently showing such influence are in reality entirely due to suggestion. As before stated, however, we believe that there is a difference between the two processes, and that hypnotism is due solely to physical causes, but that in mesmerism the human fluid before spoken of plays a part. As proof of this, I may cite, among other proofs, the fact that clairvoyance and many of the so-called higher phenomena are frequently obtained in mesmeric trance, while they are extremely rare in hypnotic trance. Other phenomena could be mentioned, but this will suffice for the present. Mesmerism, being due to the passage of a vital fluid from the body of the operator into the subject, contact and passes are essential. If, therefore, you wish to mesmerize your subject, you should make passes over his head, forehead, eyes, and down the front of the body. All downward passes are sleep passes, and all upward passes are walking passes. Placing the hands on certain nerve centers of the forehead, and particularly between the eyes and over the temples, will help to induce sleep. Also, clasping the patient's hands and placing the point of your thumb in contact with the point of his thumb establishes the current and serves to induce the mesmeric trance. In hypnotism, on the other hand, passes are not essential, though often help. In hypnotizing a subject, it is common to ask him, first of all, to gaze at a bright object until his eyes tire. When the lids are closed, suggestions of sleep are given, or the subject may open and close the eyes a number of times as you count, and this will serve to induce the initial stages of hypnotic trance. The deeper stages are induced by means of suggestion. Post-hypnotic suggestion is a form of treatment often resorted to and is a good subject for experimentation. It means that the subject performs, after awaking from trance, certain actions suggested to him when entranced. He remembers nothing of the suggestions, but carries them out to the letter. Many hypnotic subjects have extraordinary ability in calculating time, and can guess to a second the length of time which has elapsed between certain intervals, or carry out post-hypnotically a suggestion given them in trance, days or even weeks before. Hypnotism is a useful method of opening up and exploring the subconscious mind. We are enabled to tap it, as it were, and get in touch with hidden portions of our being which we could otherwise never reach. Dreams may be analyzed in this manner, also unpleasant thoughts, impressions, emotions, etc., removed, and frequently undesirable influences banished by hypnotic suggestion. Hypnotism seems to reach a deeper stratum of our mind than ordinary waking suggestion, and because of this fact, it is at times so useful. For instance, the drink habit has often been cured by hypnotic suggestion. Hence, we see that there must be more in the hypnotic command than mere advice or persuasion, because of thousands of drunkards have been advised not to drink, but they continue to do so. Nevertheless, by means of hypnotism, we are enabled to reach a portion of the mind so deep that it controls the whole being, and the result is that these deep-rooted habits may at times be removed and eradicated. This is one of the distinguishing marks of the hypnotic state, that a more fundamental control over the body and mind is obtained, and by reason of this fact, many cures of diseased conditions and abnormal states of mind have been recorded, which have been otherwise treated ineffectively. There is a difference between the hypnotic and the mediumistic trance, though not so great as that existing between the latter and the mesmeric state. In both the mediumistic and the mesmeric trance, a form of magnetism is doubtless employed, and this connects them in a subtle bond of union. It is because of this that telepathy, clairvoyance, etc., are so often obtained in the mesmeric trance, which is closely akin to the condition secured by mediums, in which they obtain genuine mediumistic messages. The fear of being hypnotized. Many persons are afraid of being hypnotized, this fear being based partly upon valid reasons and partly upon superstition. Properly induced by an expert, the hypnotic trance is not injurious. On the contrary, it is often extremely beneficial, and, as before pointed out, quickens the mental and physical powers, removes bad habits, effects cures, etc. On the other hand, when hypnotism is applied by an ignorant or bungling operator who does not know his business, the result may be very detrimental to the health of the person hypnotized. A state may be induced which neither the operator nor anybody else fully understands, for no one at the present time fully comprehends the nature of the condition thereby induced. The conscious mind is removed from its supremacy, and that this is often a fatal mistake, particularly when there are evil influences at work, either within or without the subject. If the operator is a sympathetic, careful, and qualified expert, mesmerism may prove highly beneficial, for evil influences may thereby be removed. By counteracting them and infusing into the subject a supply of beneficial animal magnetism, which is opposed to that supplied from opposite sources. Hypnotic influence from other minds. Andrew Jackson Davis began his career as a medium by being mesmerized, and others could doubtless develop their mediumistic faculties in the same way. But one must be extremely careful in such a case to select a thoroughly competent operator, one in whom he has complete faith, otherwise more harm than good may result. If you find that any one is trying to influence you against your will, you may overcome this by a counter-suggestion given to yourself from within. If the person be absent, this may be purely imaginary on your part, and the operator in question may be entirely ignorant of the effect he is producing in you. There are thousands of persons in insane asylums all over the world who suffer from the belief that they are being persecuted by others at a distance, and that these others are endeavoring to influence them by hypnotism, etc. As a matter of fact, nothing of the sort is the case, and their condition is purely the result of imaginary belief. Be most careful, therefore, that you fully ascertain and prove to your satisfaction the existence of this foreign influence before you take any steps to offset it, or even seriously believe that such influence is being directed towards you. How to overcome such influences. When once you have become satisfied that influences of this character are being directed towards you, take immediate steps to protect yourself, such as those outlined in Chapter 23, Obsession and Insanity. If promptly applied, this will effectively offset such conditions coming from outside minds. If you are in the presence of a person whom you feel to be influencing you, it would then be best to take the precautions and steps outlined in the next chapter, devoted to personal magnetism. This will prevent your passing under the influence of such a person. You need never fear that hypnotic sleep, even if induced, will last a great length of time, and that the subject cannot be awakened therefrom. Sleeps of this character always terminate spontaneously, if they are let alone, though it is always best to see that a hypnotic subject is thoroughly awakened before he leaves the care and supervision of the operator. Otherwise, he may go about in a somewhat dazed condition for a time, and may not be altogether responsible for his actions. An important warning. Somnambulism is a variation of hypnotic sleep where the subject spontaneously performs a number of complicated actions and the subconscious muscular activities play a large part. A person who is subject to somnambulistic attacks should never under any circumstances be awakened suddenly. It is a good plan to speak to such a person and suggest to him, as to one in hypnotic trance, that he return to bed, and, this done, suggest to him that it is impossible for such a condition to again occur, etc. Somnambulistic attacks of this character may often be cured by hypnotic treatment and properly directed suggestion. Prevention of hypnotic influence. An operator may prevent his subject from being hypnotized by any other person through forceful suggestions to his subject, that he will be unable to resist suggestions from any other operator, that he will have no effect on him, etc. If you do not wish to be hypnotized at all, you may give similar suggestions to yourself. These self-suggestions are called auto-suggestions. Lightly given and persistently repeated, they will effectively prevent you from being influenced by any other person. End of chapter 30. Recording by John Smith.